Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to the Popternative Podcast. This is the podcast and talk show where we have digital discussions from the worlds of TV, film, pop culture, social media, everything really. Depending on the guest, we talk about it all. As always, I'm your host, Peter Remoliotis. On social media, you know me as PD Beats. A horror film, a unique horror film, which was shot on Zoom during quarantine, was released on Shudder. It is called Host, and it is very, very scary. And we were speaking to 5 of the castmates from this film. We were speaking to Radina, Caroline, Jemma, Emma, and Haley. Ladies, welcome to Popternative.
Hi.
So hold on, there's something I need to do before I start the interview. Give me one second. Okay, we're good to go. We are good to go.
Skip there for a second.
Thank you all so much for doing this. Really appreciate it. I just want to kind of go quickly around the table. Start maybe with Haley. I mean, when you heard about this opportunity of this horror film that took place on Zoom, what was kind of going through your mind?
I mean, it was a little bit of terror. It was a little, excitement. It was a whole bag of emotions. No, it was great. I mean, we've been talking as a group since the start of quarantine. We're all friends. We've all started like a quarantine movie club, watching movies together. And when Rob called us up and pitched us the film idea, I was like, yes, please give me something to do. I've been baking way too much banana bread. Like I can't eat another banana. It was awesome. It was a little intimidating though, just because we've never shot anything like this. It's a completely new medium to shoot a movie on. I don't know about you guys, but it was exciting and also nerve-wracking a bit.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. Caroline, did the idea kind of excite you though? Like something like this that never maybe has been done before? Like did it excite you like when you found out about this project?
Yeah, definitely. It was like, I think because of like the mixture of knowing how good the production team and the writers are and what they do, like knowing that, but also the challenge of like overcoming all of the hurdles and the obstacles that have come naturally from being in lockdown and shooting in our own houses. Like that was such an exciting combination. So yeah, it was just like a really exciting kind of thing to even think about being involved in, let alone actually doing. And then like now it's the whole thing's been really great.
And Radina, in terms of kind of shooting this project, you're doing this project from your computer screen, correct? I mean, that must have been just that part of it must have just been like kind of unheard of in the beginning of the stages.
Well, I've never done anything like this, but yeah, it was all shot in our own homes. We never met. Rob Savage, the director, was never here. Our producer, Douglas Cox, was never here. So everything was done remotely. He was directing us through Zoom, and we had our laptops. And on our laptops, on our laptops, at the back of them, we had to put like Velcro and just stick the phone. So we shot everything on the phone as well.
Oh, wow.
So that was something new. I've never done it. I loved it. I was worried in the beginning that it was going to be too technical, but it was awesome.
And Jemma, this was obviously not your first horror film, but this is obviously kind of different compared to other things you've kind of worked on. What were kind of your experiences like, and what were kind of some of the learning curves that came with this film? Because I can't even imagine, like, some of the shots that were in this film, like, I don't even know how you guys did it. Like, it's crazy.
Well, we had an incredible production team, Douglas Cox, Charlie Carson. They were on it all the time. Learning curves, definitely how to do my own sound. I mean, all of us were doing our own sound. We were recording our own, like Radina was saying, we had our phones Velcro to the back of, our laptops, then uploading. We were doing our own DIT as well, uploading footage every day. I mean, the fear was, and I really feel for DOP, have I pressed record? And will this be okay? And once you send it back to Doug, my was, okay, well, that could all be corrupted by the time it gets to him and it could all go kaput. So Yeah, so it was a lot of learning curves of how to be independent, but also be listening very, 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 very much so to every little detail that was being said to us. Otherwise, I would literally, we all had notepads and we're like, okay, you're what? Oh, I was like, okay, okay. So yeah.
And now
It was like
Emma,
a filmmaker workshop.
pardon me?
Can you hear me? Sorry, I was saying it was a bit like a filmmaker workshop.
Yeah, exactly. But like, were there kind of moments specifically with your scenes or other scenes where you're kind of waiting, where you were actually like genuinely like terrified for your life filming it? Because I can't even imagine what it was like. Like, it's kind of hard, right? Because you're working and you're kind of in the zone, right? But then maybe when you watch it back, but was there any? Was it scary to film certain parts?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, spoiler, but the bit including my door in my actual real life bedroom, even after filming, like, I find it really difficult to get to sleep in my room now because that door is like just there. When my bed's positioned, I can see my door, and like it's really tough to get to sleep now. I have to sleep with the light on.
Oh man.
But yeah, while we were filming, actually, the actual seance bit was quite scary because we were improvising off of real things that were happening. The green light in Radina's house, that was all real. And we were told them that the medium was real. We found out later she was an actress called Salen. But yeah, that was a little bit scary. I don't really like that kind of stuff. If I can avoid it, I will, you know.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
This is.
Oh, and my hair caught on fire too at one stage because I was leaning over my laptop and the candle got my hair.
I think there's certain scenes in it that like really scared me. One of them that really scared me is like Radina, like when your boyfriend just like that. Like you kind of knew something was gonna happen, but that was like really scary. And then I think Haley, because I feel like I was told about this and people were like, hey, you have to watch this movie because this is kind of like one of the scariest things you'll ever see. And I'm watching this and a lot of it is kind of like you guys talking like friends do on Zoom calls, right? And you're doing this seance. And I gotta say, he's not on this call, but Teddy, I still feel like he was involved with something because that guy was just he was just suspicious the whole movie. But like it was a little bit like a slow burn with like the horror. Did you notice that, Haley?
Yeah, I think we when we started filming, you know, Rob had our director had us walk around our own homes and try and find out where the creepiness of our home was. And I do remember him saying, like, if you just hold on a long shot of darkness, that is scarier to people than, you know, something jumping out at you sometimes because your imagination's going to make up whatever it is that you're seeing. And so I think the aim of the film kind of was to make things like you find like, is that going to be it? No, is that going to be it? Oh, is that going to be it? And have the audience constantly on edge. So then when it just takes off from the second half, it's just go, 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 that we've built everybody so high that they're just ready to explode with fear. And hopefully we've accomplished it. I
think you did. I think this is one of the scariest films I've ever seen. And trust me, it's high praise because I'm a really big horror movie guy. Like I love horror movies. Jen, we'll start with you. We'll kind of go around. I want to know, like, you've seen the film, correct? You've seen the final cut.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't know. Like, sometimes I've done interviews where like people are like, I haven't seen it. And I'm like it happens. It happens sometimes. So I just want to double check. I want to go around, Jen. We'll start with you. What do you think from a fan, like from the spectator point of view? What do you think is the scariest sequence in the film? I want to go around and hopefully maybe we have different answers. But what do you think is the scariest sequence in the film? It doesn't have to do with your character. It could, but like, what do you think is the scariest?
I, as someone watching, I'm so scared of jump scares. I think when Teddy's like, no, walking up the stairs, and then that jump scare comes out, that I just proper like dropped. I was having like food and I just dropped it everywhere, and it was just the dog started eating it. So for me, that was like, I was not expecting it. I hadn't actually seen that until we watched it. So that for me was like that and Caroline. I think Caroline was more gore, but that jump scare with Teddy, I was like, God.
Yeah, Caroline, you're kind of like you're into like rock music a little bit there in that scene. Radina, what about you? What was scariest scene?
I'm like Jemma. I hate jump scares. So anything that makes me jump, I'm just like, oh no. To be honest, so a funny thing is we actually had no idea how the other person would die as actors because it was all redacted in the script. So when we sat down for the first time to watch the film, we saw each other's deaths for the first time. Well, I saw everybody's deaths for the first time. Obviously, like they saw while they were filming. So some of the reactions you get in the film are actually real, genuine reactions to, oh my God, my friend's dying on screen. But I have to say that Caroline freaked me out. Caroline's little rock head really like made me jump, freaked me out. And then also the end with Jemma and Haley, with the camera. With
you know
that
what?
final
And you know what?
something.
It's frustrating too because you know it's happening. You know it's
There's a
gonna happen.
countdown.
You know it's gonna happen, and I think it's like the fourth time. I think like is it the fourth photo? It's like you know it's gonna happen, and you're thinking
And
like
there's a countdown in the corner, which I didn't realize till like the third time I watched it, because it says the call's going to end in like 3, 2, 1. I didn't even know that, but that for me was my scariest bit as well, because I didn't know what was going to happen, and I filmed me and my mum and my stepdad watching it, and I still screamed. I had no idea.
Like, and then the part too with the filter, like the floating filter, like that is just, and like people that kind of are into like paranormal activity and like know about it, like I think that kind of scene was really for the people who are really into that stuff, because like people know that like ghosts can kind of take on a face, right? Like you could that's what, like you could recognize facial recognition, right? So I feel like that was really crazy. And when someone throws
Emma, turn off your filter. Emma, turn off the filters. Come on. Emma, turn it off. Come on.
I think when we're talking about filters, I feel like we need to give a massive shout out to our to Steve Bray, who's in charge of the VFX, and he's fantastic.
I know.
He did not only the filter, he did a lot of stuff, but he's just incredible.
It might be a tough question to, and I want to. I mean, I'll ask the question, and you can all take it on. But I mean, do you kind of, maybe it's early on, but like this movie is like word of mouth. It's traveling fast. Like everyone's watching it, and people are saying that this is like kind of like a trailblazing film. Like this is something no one's ever seen before. I mean, is that kind of sinking in a little bit for all five of you, that you're kind of part of something that's going to kind of live on, like as one of like the kind of most like, unique, incredible horror films in the last 10 years? Like it's crazy.
It's so cool.
Yeah, it's a big honor for an actor.
Yeah. It's been so nice because like the horror community are just so lovely and so enthusiastic, and really it's so nice that they're embracing this film that we made in lockdown with our friends, and now we had a blast making it, and now the audiences are enjoying watching it. It's brilliant. It's so much fun. Yeah, lovely.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like it still hasn't really set in. Like every day I get these lovely messages and over Twitter and Instagram, and I've got, friends from high school who are reaching out that I haven't spoke to in 10 years. And it still doesn't like feel real, because then I have to like go to the grocery store and like go on a walk, and like people aren't recognizing me yet, which I don't know why. But I don't think it'll set in for a little while until we can look back at it and be like, holy shit, that was insane what just happened. Like how
For sure.
I had a voiceover, and because I'm sat in the position I was, and I had my glasses on, and I came up for this voiceover job, and the guy on the other side, the sound engineer, was like, have we met before? And I was like, no. And he was like, okay. And then he emailed me afterwards being like, you were on host, right? And you were sat in the right exact position in the same costume. And I was like, yeah.
Well, it's a bit scary, to be honest with you, because I know like you're in like the same kind of, like that was where you were for the film, Jemma. So it's a bit, and like in the movie too, you're on like the bottom left. So it's a little bit like it's a little bit terrifying. But yeah, no, it's just like it's incredible. You all should be really, really proud of it. The cast and crew are amazing. I've reached out to a few of the writers and directors, because you're all on social media, you're all checking messages, and they just can't believe like the reception of it. I mean, how long was the whole process total of like filming this and editing it? What was the whole process? Like, how long was it, the lengthwise?
12
12 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, from conception to delivery, 12 weeks.
And it's on Shudder, and Shudder's become kind of an amazing kind of machine when it comes to like horror films and streaming platforms. So I think that was kind of cool as well.
Yeah, well, Shudder's just been incredible because they had a few people, Rob and Doug and Jed had a few production companies bidding for the film, and they went with Shudder because Shudder was just like, yeah, let's turn this thing around. Like, we'll give you the funding, you can have the freedom to play and pick whoever you want to be in it and use your team, and then just deliver us a film. And then they've just been so supportive too of the film as it's come out and trying to promote it and reach out to people and whatnot. So big shout out to them for just even believing in this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think.
Continue.
Sorry.
Sorry.
I was going to say, I think that that was a big part of it doing as well as it has, is that it came out so quickly, and it came out while we're kind of still in a weird pandemic world. Yeah. Because I think it's been like a nice escape for people. Just even if it's like an hour, it's like it just completely. It's like it takes you out of one nightmare, puts you in a different one. But it's almost cathartic, I think, for some people to kind of have that escapism.
100%. Did you guys have a chance to see the Unfriended movies that were based on the Skype calls? Did you guys see those? Did you kind of like, did you watch them before this kind of like at all, like for research maybe? Because like those were horror films taking place on the web as well.
For research, Rob had us watch Paranormal Activity 3 and the Blair Witch Project. But I have seen Unfriended like years ago, and I thought it was amazing. It's just a very great idea, really, really good film. So yeah, I think we all love Unfriended, but yeah, the inspiration was actually Blair Witch in Paranormal Activity.
No, it was amazing.
Peter, I'm not going to lie to you. Horror films scare the absolute bejesus out of me. So when Rob made us watch horror films before we would go on this like emotional journey where Rob would make us watch horror films before we said action. And they could be horrific, and I would have my head because he could see us watching it on Zoom, and I'd have my face like half from my nose down, so he couldn't see that my eyes were closed. And then he'd make us do the scene, and then afterwards he'd play ABBA Dancing Queen. So,
well, I find that ironic considering you're probably one of the scariest horror movies that's ever come out in the last 5 years, easily. I texted a lot of, because the thing is there's a lot of my friends kind of listen to me when it comes to my horror movie suggestions. Mm-hmm. So there's been a lot of people that have bought Shudder just to watch your film, which is pretty cool, right? Like, isn't that cool to think, right? Like, people are going to get a subscription just to kind of see this film. And one of my friends, it was like 9 o'clock at night. He's like, I'm finishing up some work, and before I go to bed, I'm going to watch it. I was like, I don't know if that's a good idea. And he watched it very late, and he texted me. He's like, I'm upset at you right now. He's like, how am I supposed to sleep right now? You know what I mean? Like, he's like, come on.
Welcome to my world. You should be set. Yeah, you should be like, oh, we should jump on the Zoom, mate. We should jump on the Zoom, make you feel better.
Oh man, it's just crazy. But it's just, I'm so happy for all of you though, because this reception, like on Rotten Tomatoes too, like great score and everything, has just been awesome. So I just want to say thank you all for coming on the show. I really enjoyed this chat.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely. We'll go very quickly just around. Just plug your social media and where people can kind of follow you. Radina, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh God. Thank you so much. I'm Radina Drandova, and I might mix my handles. So on one of them is like at Radina Drandova altogether, and Twitter is like at Radina no, that's the other way around. Sorry. Instagram at Radina_Drandova, and then Twitter is at Radina Drandova altogether.
Absolutely. Caroline, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me and us and everyone here. So my Instagram is Caroline__Ward, and my Twitter is Caroline_Ward1.
Absolutely. Jemma, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. My Instagram is Jemma_Moore, Jemma with a J and Moore spelled like Roger Moore, not related. And my Twitter is Jemma__Moore.
Very cool. Emma, thank you so much for coming on Popternative.
Thank you so much for having me. So I'm on Instagram as @EmmaLoves with 3 S's. So Emma Loves. I made it when I was 15. Don't ask questions. My Twitter is @EmmaLouiseWebb5. So yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Amazing. Haley, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, Peter. So you can find me on Twitter and Instagram under Haley, HALEY_Bishop, like the chess piece.
Amazing. Well, seriously, congrats so far with the success of Host, because it's incredible and it's groundbreaking. I'm telling you, it's groundbreaking. People are going to talk about this movie for a long time, and it's pretty much like it's one of the scariest movies I've ever seen. So people get Shudder. You can watch it now on Shudder. And this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. And until next time, this is Radina, Caroline, Jemma, Emma, Haley, and Petey Beats signing off.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.